February 1, 2025. Madison Square Garden Lakers vs. Knicks. NBC Sports launches Basketball Night in America with a broadcast choice that would spark one of the most uneasy discussions the WNBA has ever dealt with, because sitting in that analyst seat was not a retired icon. It was not a veteran broadcaster stepping into a new phase. It was Caitlin Clark, an active player only 23 years old, and in under 5 minutes on national television, she accomplished something the league had spent years trying to avoid. She made individual star power impossible to overlook. This is the story NBC never expected, the disruption the WNBA did not want, and the moment that revealed the league's biggest concern live in front of millions. Here is what really happened. NBC announces Caitlin Clark as a special contributor for their newly launched Basketball Night in America. The response is instant. Social media erupts before she even appears on screen. Fans are not just curious, they are fully engaged. The segment airs right before tip-off at Madison Square Garden, one of basketball's most legendary venues, for one of the league's most watched matchups. This was not a low-profile introduction hidden in off hours. This was prime time. This was Lakers versus Knicks. This was the NBA placing Caitlin Clark directly in the spotlight. Then she starts speaking, breaking down plays with a level of confidence that does not come from scripted notes. She discusses spacing, movement, timing naturally, clearly, and thoughtfully. The other analysts pause, and you can see it on their faces. This was never meant to become a lesson, but that is exactly what happened. Caitlin Clark did not simply respond to questions. She steered the discussion. She anticipated follow-ups. She challenged assumptions. She explained the game in a way that pulled casual viewers closer. Many of you have been saying this for weeks. Star power matters. Mainstream attention follows skill, not narratives, and on February 1st, NBC proved that point. If you believe the deeper story matters, hit the like button. It tells us we are heading in the right direction, because what followed is where things became uncomfortable. The numbers arrived. Viewership did not climb slowly, it jumped. Her segment outperformed. Surrounding NBA content, clips of her analysis spread faster than highlights from the games themselves. Social media was not just reacting, it was amplifying. People who rarely watched WNBA-related content were sharing her breakdown. NBA-only fans were impressed, and that is when tension started building, because this time it was not about ticket sales or jersey numbers. It was about something the WNBA has never fully resolved: attention, and where attention flows, influence follows. Behind the scenes, reports surfaced quickly. Several WNBA players were unhappy, not because Caitlin did anything wrong, not because she lacked qualifications, but because of what her presence symbolized: visibility, validation, proof that individual star power cannot be controlled through messaging about collective growth. The league has spent years promoting the idea that everyone matters equally, that the WNBA succeeds only when the entire league rises together. But on national television during a major NBA broadcast, one player still stood apart, and she did not just stand apart, she earned it. That is the part that makes this so uncomfortable. There was no controversy, no drama, no criticism of her performance, only competence. And when competence attracts this level of attention, it forces a question many prefer to avoid. Why her? The answer is simple, but it clashes with years of messaging. People watch her. NBC did not manufacture this moment. Fans did. The network followed the data, and data does not care about politics, narratives, or league-first messaging. It cares about results. Now connect the dots. NBC did not slowly introduce Caitlin into this role. They did not give her weeks to adjust. They selected her to help launch Sunday Night Basketball, Lakers at Knicks, Madison Square Garden. That choice alone said everything, because when a network makes that call, they are not experimenting, they are investing, and networks do not invest in players they think might succeed. They invest in stars they know will deliver. Internal conversations began almost immediately, not public statements, but private discussions. What happens if this keeps going? How do you balance coverage when one player repeatedly draws more attention than everyone else? What does the future look like if this continues? Because it was not a one-time spike. Engagement stayed strong. Fans wanted more. NBC scheduled her second appearance for March 29th, Knicks vs. Thunder in Oklahoma City. Another major matchup, another primetime slot, another chance for Caitlin Clark to show this was not a fluke. That is exactly why the reaction has been so intense, because once a player crosses into mainstream sports media, not as a storyline, but as a voice, as an authority, there is no turning back. That night, Caitlin Clark was not just a WNBA player making A guest appearance, she was a basketball analyst. She was someone networks trusted to explain the game at the highest level. She was someone casual viewers and dedicated fans both respected. You are right to notice the discomfort. This is not about jealousy, it is about what happens when individual success becomes too large to fit inside the structure the league has built for years. The WNBA strategy has been clear: promote the collective. Celebrate the league, ensure no single player grows bigger than the product itself. But Caitlin Clark's NBC debut exposed the weakness in that strategy, because mainstream success does not operate that way. Casual fans do not tune in for leagues, they tune in for players' moments, personalities, and stories they can follow. NBC executives have been open about their expectations. They believe she is built for this. They point to her comfort on camera, her thoughtful responses, her ability to explain the game in ways that connect with audiences who may not closely follow basketball. This was not her first experience in the spotlight. She has gone viral before doing play-by-play for fun. She has appeared in MLB broadcast booths. She thrives in big moments. The difference now is the platform and the stakes. Reading between the lines, the tension is not about Caitlin's ability, it is about what her success represents: a disruption to the carefully managed narrative that everyone should rise together, that individual stars should not overshadow the collective mission. But NBC's decision highlights something the WNBA cannot control. Mainstream media follows attention, and attention follows stars. What do you think happens when one player consistently delivers what networks desperately need? Share your thoughts in the comments, because this discussion is only beginning and the implications go far beyond a single broadcast appearance. Let's remove the noise and focus on what NBC actually learned. When Caitlin Clark appeared on Basketball Night in America, she did not just perform well, she demonstrated something networks search for across every sport: the ability to explain complex ideas in a way that engages both hardcore fans and casual viewers. That is rare. Most analysts lean too far one way. They either oversimplify and lose credibility, or go too technical and lose general audiences. Caitlin found the balance, and NBC noticed instantly. Here is what separates this from typical player appearances. She was not there to promote anything. She was not selling a product or advertising a documentary. She was there because NBC believed she could add real value to their coverage at a level worthy of primetime placement. That is not a favor, that is a business move based on expected return, and the return went beyond expectations. The WNBA community is actively discussing what this moment means for future media possibilities. Because when one current player breaks into mainstream NBA coverage, it challenges the idea that the WNBA can only grow through collective promotion. What happens when networks see that individual star appeal creates more interest than league-wide narratives? These questions are no longer theoretical. February 1st delivered real answers. We are now entering a space that makes some people uneasy, but insiders say this is exactly what is being talked about privately right now. Several reports suggest players and league leadership are having quiet conversations about how to handle situations like this. Not because anyone thinks Caitlin should be denied opportunities, but because her rise reveals a core conflict the WNBA has avoided confronting directly. Can the league keep its collective first approach when mainstream attention continues to follow individual stars? The answer taking shape is not what many hoped for, because networks do not build coverage around philosophy. They build it around results. What delivers results is star power. What works is personality that viewers connect with. What works is content that feels real rather than tightly controlled. Caitlin Clark's NBC debut checked every one of those boxes, and fan response confirmed it. Social media is full of speculation about what comes next. Some believe this signals a larger shift, that more WNBA players will enter mainstream basketball media, not just women's basketball spaces. That networks may begin to view the WNBA as a source of broadcast talent rather than only a league to spotlight during its season. Others fear that focusing too much on one player could weaken the progress the league has made as a whole. But the data tells a clear story. When Caitlin Clark appeared, viewership rose. When clips circulated, online engagement followed. When casual fans shared her insight, new audiences found her. This did not happen because of league-wide messaging. It happened because of her individual pull. And the uncomfortable reality is that this is how mainstream success has always worked. Across all sports and all eras, stars attract attention. Attention leads to growth. Growth creates opportunity. When you connect these dots, the WNBA faces a reality it can no longer avoid. Players who draw the most mainstream interest are also the ones creating paths for others. When Caitlin Clark succeeds on NBC, it does more than help her career. It shows networks that WNBA players belong in these environments, that they can stand beside NBA analysts, that they bring value worth investing in. This is the real route to wider media opportunity, even if it clashes with the collective first message. NBC choosing to bring her back on March 29th proves this was not a one-off move. They are developing something bigger. They are measuring whether consistency creates lasting engagement. And if it does, the impact stretches far beyond one player. Once networks see WNBA players succeed within NBA coverage, the media landscape changes. If reports are accurate, the internal tension is not about Caitlin earning these chances. It is about what her success forces people to admit. That individual influence matters more than the league has publicly accepted. That audiences follow people, not missions. That growth accelerates when attention is prioritized over ideology. Here is the moment that reshapes everything ahead. Caitlin Clark proved she belongs in that role, not as a guest, not as a novelty, but as a serious basketball analyst capable of breaking down the game at the highest level. NBC leadership has clearly seen long-term value. They are not filling time. They are shaping a position. When networks begin creating ongoing roles for individual WNBA players in mainstream basketball coverage, the entire conversation around visibility and opportunity shifts. You are right to notice the discomfort surrounding this moment, because it goes beyond a single appearance. It is about what happens when individual success no longer fits inside the structures the league created. It is about what happens when data proves star power delivers outcomes. It is about what happens when results conflict with years of messaging. February 1st was not just a strong debut. It was a test case. Proof that WNBA players can succeed in mainstream basketball media. Proof that networks invest when returns are visible. Proof that audiences respond to skill and personality regardless of league. That proof creates pressure not only on the WNBA but on everyone involved to recognize what truly fuels mainstream success. The debate now is not about whether Caitlin deserved the platform. It is about what her rise means for others. Does it open doors, or does it focus attention in ways that challenge collective growth? The answer depends on how you believe mainstream media operates. And after February 1st, the evidence is hard to ignore. If this analysis helped you, make sure you are subscribed and notifications are enabled, because this story is far from finished. NBC has already locked in her next appearance. Reactions are still unfolding, and the effects on the WNBA media strategy are just beginning. We will continue breaking down what comes next and what it means when individual star power clashes with a collective first philosophy. This is a turning point, not because NBC planned to disrupt anything, but because confidence and star presence aligned in a way the league could not manage. Caitlin Clark's Analyst debut revealed the WNBA's deepest concern, that individual success may matter more than anyone wanted to admit. And now that truth has been seen by millions, there is no taking it back.